Hey guys, Evans here. Super excited. Happy Memorial Weekend. Well, I don't know if we say Happy Memorial, seeing that it's a time when we think about those who have died for the cause of freedom. So maybe not Happy Memorial, but hello, Happy Sunday. Today I am really excited though to share with you guys a quick way to cook butternut squash. It's a phenomenal vegetable. If you like sweet potatoes or you like anything in that realm, pumpkin, it's kind of almost like a hybrid in my mind, taste wise for the two of them. It is something though that you can eat raw and or cooked, but it tastes way better cooked than raw. When you cook it, the sugars caramelize, so it creates a really really cool flavor. So what I'm gonna do is just show you how to cut it. It's pretty simple, and how to peel it. Now, when you go to like as far as like nutritional facts and things like that, you just take a knife, literally a big knife, and just chop right through the middle. Now you can also, if you weren't going to cook all of this at one time, you can actually just chop off like this neck portion and then just cut that part as well. But I'll show you how to do it all in here. So raw versus cooked, as far as nutritional facts, every 100 grams of butternut squash is about 10 and a half grams of carbs raw, and 100 grams cooked is only 11. So it is one of those things that you can decide, okay, I couldn't find the cooked version, let me just grab the raw version, and vice versa, because you're only talking about 2 grams of carbs in either direction. I do need a spoon to get the seeds out. So just trying to show you when you cut it, you do have this portion here where you have the little seeds up top and this in here. So I'll just scoop that really quick. Just a makeshift trash can for here. So I'll just use a spoon and just come around, and I'm just getting the seeds out. I'm literally just scraping it, so it's really easy in there. So it is something that you can cook. You use it with breakfast, you can use it with lunch, with dinner. There's so many different things you can use it with. You can go on the sweet side because it has a sweet tone, and you can also go savory as well. So sorry to have my back to you, but here we go. Beautiful. So that's how it looks. You take the seeds out. So now let me show you how to take the skin off of it. So a lot of times what a lot of people do is they'll cut the top off because it'll create a flat surface, and then cut off like the little piece here on the bottom. So it's not much that you cut off because you don't want to get rid of your food. But what it does, it creates a nice flat surface for you to go like that. And then use a paring knife, and then you can just come on down in here and then just work it down. Now don't do what I'm about to do. I'm just a little bit more professional on the whole cutting thing, so I won't cut my hand. But what I like to do as well is split it in a quarter. And for me, I can just peel it just like a pear or a piece of fruit. If you do have do we have a apple like skin slicer thing?
Potato peeler?
Potato peeler, thank you.
That's what I was thinking of.
Yes, if you do
I
have a
know
potato peeler, go ahead,
for
Alyssa.
me that is so challenging for me because my hands are so small, so I have a hard time like handling the squash.
Yeah. So I don't have a clue where ours are. I think I am the potato peeler in the home. So I'll just rock through it in there. But yes, you just come right under the skin and you can come down. It would be worth having a potato peeler. Helps you big time. Just get this down. So literally, if I had a potato peeler, I'd be done. But if you're gonna come down like this, please keep your finger on top so you don't cut your finger. Or you can just be more efficient and come down. So I'm actually just gonna use this big boy because I can control the knife and get it done. Now I'm gonna be ready to cook this thing pretty fast. So what I want to do is I want to get a pan, spray the pan, and I want it on a medium high heat. So medium high heat, spray, boom, and I'm just gonna wait for the pan to get hot by the time I finish peeling this thing, we should be peeling and slicing. We should be ready to go. So that looks pretty good on that side. And you always, whenever cutting, you cut away from yourself because cutting to yourself, not too cool. So just a little tip in case you're like, oh, let me try. Oh, what happened there? I cut myself. You shouldn't do that. You should be cutting away from yourself. So just get this last little bit in here, in there. And don't worry about if you miss a little pieces of it or stuff like that. No, no harm, no foul. The skin is edible. No one really like says, oh, I'm going to eat butternut squash skin though. But it's not something where if you eat it, you know, something will happen to you negatively. It's just hard to chew on, you know, kind of stuff like that. So it's not something you're like, oh, yes, I get to eat the skin of the butternut squash. There are some vegetables that the skin may be great, but this is not one of them. So beautiful. So we are done here with this. Nice. And we don't have enough heat yet. So let me just clear my cutting board. Y'all didn't see that, but it fell right off of the cutting board. So this is what you're looking at as far as your squash. And then now what we want to do is just cut it up in cubes. So I'll take this, put it in half again. Yeah, and it is tough. Like this is like, it's tough here, but it's gonna get super soft in a minute. I'm just gonna cut this end off here, make my life a little easier. Dice, and then I'm gonna make nice, beautiful cubes. So here we go. And since I'm still waiting for this to be the right temperature, I'm just gonna put this aside until we're there. So boom.
Now, how long does butternut squash last?
Great question. Great question. So if you buy it from the store, you can actually keep it for like a month to 3 months without cooking it. So
Really?
that's a really cool thing. Yeah, it lasts quite a bit. And then once you slice it, like how this one up here is sliced, it's going to be in the fridge maybe 3 to 5 days.
Okay.
Once you cook it, you're looking at about 3 days or so, three days cooked. But a lot of times what people may do is cook it or slice it and freeze it. And you can freeze it for, I think it's like up to like 6 to 9 months, you know, frozen. And that's raw or cooked. You know, it does taste pretty good. So it's not going to last, once you get it right, it's not going to last very long. So, nope, that's not ready. Like, I like to, when I put it in the pan, we got to hear a little bit of sizzle. So, well, it's almost there though, because my fingertips felt that one. So we're almost there with it. So I'm gonna cut this here and just peel it off myself. So other things with it, it is a very low glycemic vegetable, meaning if you're diabetic and you're looking for something to give you, butternut squash is a great, you know, vegetable to go after. It has very low carbs, like we talked about earlier. So if you like sweet potatoes, but you're limited on how many, oh, I can see the smoke. You're limited on how much, you know, carbs you can get in. It's a great option to give you volume within your food without eating up a lot of carbs. And most times, most people are not just eating 100 grams. You can easily put 200-300 grams into a meal plan and be just fine. So this is just, you know, a little light amount here. There goes my wireless headset. Don't know if you can still hear me. Beautiful.
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. Heard the fall and everything else as well. So I just keep it on that medium-high heat. I'll shake it every once in a while. I want it to get nice and soft, and then it's pretty much ready. Now, sometimes what I do is add a couple seasonings to it, and I'll show you what I do as far as seasoning it. But it is one of those things which you really don't need to put a lot of seasoning on it. Hey, Mo, I make butternut squash soup. Oh, my goodness. Butternut squash soup is the bomb. It is something, now that's going to take you a little bit longer to cook, but it is really, really good. You can puree it, strain it, and the flavor profile on it is so good. And many times you don't even need to add like sugar or anything. It just gives you a nice, like warm and sweet tone. So, of course, typically its season is going to be the winter because it is a winter squash, but it's something that you can enjoy year round.
Mhm.
which is really awesome.
I love
What is it?
pairing it. Ooh,
You say you love pairing it with what?
yeah, with Brussels sprouts, like roasting Brussels sprouts and the squash, and maybe throwing some like pecans, or if you have space for a little bit of extra carbs, some like dried cranberries
Okay,
for like
okay,
a Thanksgiving type of deal.
nice. And for me, what I've been doing, I've been making this for breakfast for Dana. And what I'll do is I'll do it just like this here, a little bit more with olive oil spray. But then what I would do is add in like spinach, with it to do that. For my lunch, what I've also done is add things like chickpeas, so it's a great way. Sometimes people are like, oh, we're running out of chicken, and other proteins in the grocery store, but you can add like chickpeas, we use it for hummus and things like that. And it's a great way to kind of, subtly increase the protein in my meal,
Mm.
doing that. So that's something I enjoy doing, adding those like flavor profiles. Ideally, we want to get in about 300 to 500 grams of vegetables in each day. So a great way to do that is with things like butternut squash,
Mm.
because you can easily do that. You can even, if you cook it down and things like that, like cook it down a lot more than what I'm doing here. I'm just roasting it really quick. Is you can put it in your rice. You can literally cook it into rice like pumpkin rice. I don't know if you've ever had that before.
No,
Oh my goodness! You take some pumpkin, some coconut milk, and some rice. Yeah,
that sounds
and then
so good.
it is. It's legit. You just cube up the pumpkin, literally like I'm doing right here, and then you turn around and just add in, you know, well, you just cook it like that. And the rice comes with little orange flavors, but has the notes of a pumpkin in there and things like
Mm.
that. So this would be something that you can also do with it, but you're not concerned with with the sugar content at all. And pretty much by the time it get that nice little roasted look on it, that's when you know it's pretty much almost done. What I do is I'll take a utensil, and if it's like super soft, I know it's ready. If it's not, it may be that my fire is too hot, so I have to decrease my fire so I can cook all the way through. Now, things I can do to also decrease the temperature of the pan is throw in some other love. So I can come in here and just throw in some spinach with this here. And I know when the spinach is cooked down, so will the butternut squash be cooked. So a little cheat that I do. So people are like, how do you know it's done? By the time the spinach is done and the waters come off the spinach, the butternut squash will be done as well. And I know you guys looked and said, hey, Evans, you didn't add any seasonings to this thing. What's up? Well, it is a very tasty vegetable, but if you're
Mhm.
like, I really want to add something to it, most people just a little bit of salt, black pepper. You can go the earthy route and add things like cinnamon and go down that road if you want to as well. For us here, though, I'll actually use my little go-to seasoning that has a combination of everything in there, uh, um, and do that. So this has a little bit of thyme in there, a little bit of black pepper, a little bit of salt, a little bit of nutmeg, in here some basil, all included. So that'll be just a nice quick thing here, and you can even smell the flavor of it. So I probably have 2 more minutes at most, and the butternut squash is done.
Hmm.
So super cool, super cool. And then I can do whatever I want. If I want to add some other things to it, let's say if I said I want to add more color, because one of the most important things, right, we have to get in our colors. So if I want to add more color, what I can do now is chop up some peppers and throw it in there, and really start upping the flavor profile. If I like onions, I can take this onion here, the sweet onion,
Mm.
which I'll be using this to roast some vegetables in a couple of moments. But I can chop this bad boy, and I'm chopping it this way just because I'm going to use it for roasting, and I like the color. I mean the layout of it. So boom, get rid of this little piece. Oh, here's my trash, and then boom, nice. And throw some onions in there. And I don't want my onions to be too small because I want to like not just have the onion flavor, but I want to actually have the onion because these onions are those like high sweet flavorful onions. And I can throw those in here. Trash. And now I'm just feeling myself, right? So I'm gonna add some garlic in there as well. And we're going down the savory route. Now the squash is actually cooked right now. You can tell because I'm going to move it. You can feel it like sticky onto the pan, and it's like mush. So it's pretty much done. But now I want everything to be done and really give it, some stuff. Put a lot of onions in there. But we're a big onion house, so got a little bit of color in here. I don't think I'm gonna throw garlic in. I'm gonna leave it here. And I'm gonna add a little bit more stuff.
So I have a question.
Go ahead.
I always considered like butternut squash a starchy carb. I don't know
Okay.
because like I like attributed it to like sweet potatoes and stuff like that. So what is the biggest difference between like a butternut squash and a sweet potato?
Well, it's just the amount of carbohydrates that are in like one serving size. So if we say a serving size is 100 or 200 grams, typically butternut squash is, if you look it up, they'll be like, oh, a cup is a serving, which is about 205 grams. I like to weigh things versus just put it in a pan. Just put it in a measuring device. But the similar content of, that was hilarious. The similar content of sweet potato would be double the carbohydrates.
Gotcha.
So that's just the biggest thing in there is that one is going to be lower in the amount of total carbs to that quantity. So if my diet, so there we go. Let's say I have higher amounts of carbs and struggling to get my carbohydrates in a day. Well, I can use sweet potato, and it's going to help me get to that number faster. Let's say my diet, I have less carbs available for me. I can use butternut squash, and that will help me get to my number. But I still have a good volume of food in here. So when we look at this here, we're not looking at a large amount of food in this right here. As far as like calorie wise, volume wise, this may fill someone up when you add some meat to it and things like that. But calorie wise, it's very low calories. You're looking at maybe a total of 50 something calories in this pan. But if this was sweet potato, it may be closer to 200 calories, to be honest, at this volume. Yeah. Okay. So that's just the biggest difference. So I'm just kind of curious. I figure I put about 20 grams of onions in there, and the spinach started at a good amount, but that spinach maybe 30 grams at most with the 2 handfuls. So I'm gonna weigh this just out of curiosity and see how much all this weighs. So sorry for walking in front of you guys. Let me grab my plate. And we're gonna see how much all this weighs. Now, if you're tracking your food exactly, I would recommend probably weighing out that butternut squash before you toss it in there, just so you had a good reference point. But let's see what this all adds up to in a second here. Yeah, so we're looking at 274 grams for all this.
Okay.
So if 200, let's say the most calorie dense item on the plate is the butternut squash, spinach is going to be less, onions is going to be kind of almost the same. So if you did, let's say all of it was the equivalent of butternut squash, we'd be looking at, for every 100, there's about 10. So we're looking at 20 something grams of carbs here. But 20 something grams of rice is like half a cup of rice. You know what I mean? It's like 2 rice cakes. But this, with some other meat source, is a great meal. So I just want to show you that because it's a very versatile food item. Daya, you want to come and taste it? Tell us how it is. We need the honest, thing you're gonna get. Daya, every meal is a meal. She doesn't do anything light. see how she made sure she added the spinach and the onion in that bite, so
Hmm.
so she can get the full flavor profile.
That's really good.
Cool. So that meets the
She
mark.
goes in for seconds. You know it's
Nice,
good when
nice.
they go in for seconds.
When they go for seconds, you know it's good. So that's something that's really easy and convenient. You can make a lot of it at one time. Again, you can freeze portions that you don't want to eat at that time. But if you're thinking about the course of your week, it is something that's very easy, to prep. And literally, you can just take them. I didn't want to do a ton, but you can just take it, chop it up, and you're good to go. You can even use the butternut squash and throw it on like a baking sheet, like the sheet I have back here, and roast it in the oven that way. So Daya just took all that food away. That's what you guys might not have seen that arm go behind, but that food is gone, so it was good to know that guy existed in there. But again, when you're done with it, let's say if it was a bigger portion like this one here, you can just cut off the one piece, and then whatever portion you're going to cook, that part you use, and the other part you can put in the fridge in there. But it goes great with things like onions and garlic and all that, or you can just do it by itself. Dana uses it for breakfast right now, so a lot of times when people try to cut out, not that wheat's bad, when people try to decrease wheat from their diet, though, they get lost. They're like, oh, what can I do? Well, this is a great option for breakfast. So she has like some turkey sausages with a butternut squash, for breakfast with some peppers in there and some spinach and arugula, and boom, she has a nice, flavorful, hearty kind of breakfast to keep you long term. So, any other questions there?
So it's Sunday. So are you cooking vegetables for the whole week, or are you just cooking it for tonight?
Great question. So for me, the way I make my veggies, I'll show you that really quick. They last about 3 days.
Okay.
So I will do vegetables today, and then I'll probably do like Wednesday night. I'll do some vegetables as well. So I'll just move this out, and I'll just show you really quick because it takes no time. For veggies. But what I'll do is I'll just have vegetables, like all this will be eaten over the course of like 2 to 3 days in this house. So sometimes my intention is for the veggies to last longer, but the reality is, everybody goes at it.
Right.
So it's like, what do I intend to do? And with vegetables, there's just a little bit of salt and black pepper, boom. I only spray the pan so they don't stick. And then I just literally slice them up like this in here because I want to have those like pieces I can go after in there. So, yeah.
So when you're sauteing them all together, so when you actually like go to put that into your meal plan, if you are tracking your food, should you be measuring before you put it in the pan, or are you just sort of like guesstimating?
No. I can go cooked mixed vegetables.
Okay.
I mean, I got peppers and onions, here. So I can do peppers and onions, and I can look that up in here. Sometimes I'll have some other vegetables included, but typically I'll just do like a cooked mixed vegetables. And when I lay it in the pan, the way I normally put it in, I actually put them in separated.
Okay.
So I do come in and I do this, and that's all my onions all over here. So they're having their own experience, so to speak, in here. And then I'll put the green peppers in one place, and then I'll have the other stuff in another. So that's how I'll do that. So I can separate them, in my macros in there. But when I looked, like I'm a little analytical, so I will actually go in and say, this is how much yellow pepper I had, how much red pepper I had. But as far as like, is your body going to even notice a difference between red peppers and yellow peppers? No. It's just Evans being analytical in my fitness pal. And for most people, if that really taps your capacity, then just say I had to, bell peppers and make your life easy. I'm just going to fix this here on the chicken. I put chicken in the pressure cooker because I I forgot to take it out and defrost it, so I only have frozen chicken. So since I want to cook today, I just put it in frozen in the pressure cooker or the Instapot. Nobody calls it a pressure cooker anymore, but in the Instapot. So I'll have that as shredded chicken this week as one of the things, as well as some ground turkey. I think we had some ground turkey in there. And I was thinking of making. Lasagna. I was gonna make a zucchini lasagna.
Ooh.
But I didn't want to go around different stores to get the food.
Yeah.
So like maybe another day, when we do full grocery shopping. So I went in and I was like, "You have any zucchini?" They're like, "No," and I was like, "Okay, you're the only store I'm going to today, so no zucchini lasagna in the dish." But I'll probably get some next week and make it, which is really cool. That is something that I'll probably look like the Food Network, because I'll show you some parts and then like, "Oh, look what just came out the oven." So we're not waiting, for the lasagna to cook, all the way through. So you're like, "Oh, we have some ground beef, and this is how I seasoned it. Oh, look, the ground beef is seasoned already." So we can kind of build it and see it as it's finished. But yeah, that's what I do here. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say I made like a chicken pho today.
Okay.
But instead of rice noodles, I like zoodled some zucchini.
Nice.
And steamed some like bok choy and mushrooms and put that in. But we made the broth homemade instead of buying it from the store because like the sodium content is so high usually with the pre-made stuff. But it's surprising how much zucchini can like take on the form of noodle. And be such like, because I could have 200 grams of zucchini noodles, where like if I was to have the rice noodles, it'd be like 50 grams.
Rice noodles are for those with lots of carbs in their diet. Yeah, that's rough. That's like, "Oh, I'm trying to put on some weight," or "I'm just a larger person and I can afford those carb calories." But yeah, rice noodles is tough on you. But yeah, zoodles is in, and there's so many ways to do it. I wouldn't necessarily buy it that way unless I'm just feeling lazy. But I also like to cook. So for someone else who's watching me and going, "This is Chinese water torture, I don't believe he does this every week," then yeah, it makes sense for you to go buy something that way. For me, it's nothing. It's just, how we roll, a kind of thing. I actually really enjoy it. So but yeah, that's pretty cool. I was thinking when you was talking about that, let's say, and not that, like, I just realized when people struggle getting macronutrients, the number one macro they struggle with is protein. So a fun thing you can do with that is for your broth next time, get bone broth and use that as your broth, because the protein content per cup is like 10 grams of protein or something crazy.
Last time I made it, that's what we used.
Nice.
So that was really good. Yeah, and both broths typically has like a higher flavor content too.
Oh, absolutely.
Which is really, really good.
Funny. Yeah, that's really, really good. I wasn't even privy to it until, I want to say, like towards the end of last year. I was like, "Oh, let me try this thing out," and I made rice with it. So my rice came out super flavorful. And then also I had, this extra protein I had to account for in there. Now I don't struggle getting in. I am a meat eater, so I can eat meat, fish. I can eat anything really, except I've even found creative ways to get beets in. Where growing up, that was like my least favorite vegetable. We used to sit at the table and trade it. It was like, I was like, "Okay, I'll eat your beans if you eat my beets. Just don't tell Mom." So, yeah, I did not. Maybe it was the way she cooked it. I don't know. But it was not my favorite. All right. So I got a bunch of veggies in there. It's beautiful. I got a lot of color in there as well. And then me, it's a little bit of salt. If you're not a salt person, then don't put it on there. And then with some black pepper. And then I just literally put it in the oven on broil, actually, for 5 minutes.
Nice.
Yeah, so I don't believe like everything should take a whole lot of time.
Mm-hmm.
Spray it. And if I was, my goal was to have this like done before we came on, like, oh, surprise. But
Mm-hmm.
you guys actually see me do it. And then boom, the oven's already on broil. And then I'm done, in there. So I'm just going to chop up the rest of this, throw it in here with this guy, and cook up some more because clearly that other plate was Dia's compensation for being our tech person on the back end.
Does that mean that the second batch is for me?
Gotcha. So Dana will get the next batch. Alyssa gets to get the recipe for being on the show.
I have one last question for you.
Go ahead.
So we see you cooking these vegetables, right? So what are your other like go-to carb choices throughout your week?
Okay, so like this week I'm gonna have some rice. I'm actually doing something really cool with the rice. I have what's it called? It's like food coloring. So I'm gonna make yellow rice this week. So I'm excited about that. What else do I do? I have some sweet potatoes, so I'll do. I'm not sure if I'll do some sweet potato. I think I will. I'll do some sweet potato. Then that's it. Like for breakfast, I'm gonna have butternut squash with eggs and some spinach and some cheese and make an omelet. Spinach cheese omelet with that, and then the butternut squash. No, I'm not gonna have butternut squash. I'll have oatmeal with that. Some days I may do the butternut squash. And then for my morning snack, I always do a shake and a bar. That's just like my thing. Last week or the last couple weeks, I've been on a yogurt kit, but I am lactose intolerant, and everybody's been paying the price. So I decided this week I'll just go without the yogurt. And then for my lunch, I'm gonna make like almost like a dirty rice. So I'm gonna cook my rice first, and then put in some ground turkey. And then I'm going to stir fry that together. For that, it has the vegetables on the side. And then I never set the timer, so I've been talking for about a minute. And then 2 minutes? Okay, cool. Okay, cool. Thank you. And then for my afternoon snack, I'm probably going to do like cheese, some crackers, and a shake, like just a powder shake. They only do it. And then for dinner, it'll just be a variable. Like I typically do like chicken one night for dinner, fish one night for dinner, something else, chicken again, chicken with like melted cheese on top, and then I'll probably do like chicken fried rice one day because I got like 10 pounds of chicken that's cooking. So I'll do like variations of chicken. I'll do like chicken and some turmeric and go into that flavor profile. And then towards the end of the week, I already have it planned that I'm going to do some sort of like something with like a meat sauce. Like I'm in the mood for meat sauces. So I know next week is going to be, a lot of tomato sauce type dishes. But that's in my mind what I plan it to consume over it. And like to me, sometimes the potatoes, the rice, those are my big things. Sometimes I do oatmeal. Sometimes I do it like a mission carb wrap to get that in. But I get a ton of fiber in many times without going to something that's like heavy in fiber because I eat a lot of real food. But I like the way the food tastes and everything else in there. Yep. So that's what I got planned for this week in there. But this will use up some. And then this is a smarter technique. With the bigger portions, you can do this. You just come all the way down and just cut it right off versus with the little pieces. Cool. Well, that was a great question. How about you? What are you doing for your options? You got your zoodles. What else are you doing?
So I roasted some radishes, which are pretty interesting because I'd only ever had radishes raw. And like salads, but if you cook them, they're actually very similar in like texture to like a potato.
Okay. Yep.
The taste
I can
is a
see
little
that.
bit different, but the carb content is super duper low.
Huh.
So I've been using that as like a substitute when I'm craving starchy carbs because it very much feels like that.
Mm.
So I did that, and then I roasted some carrots.
Hmm.
Um, Rainbow carrots are my favorite, so I roasted some of those. And then I have fruit, so I used
Hmm.
to eat a lot of fruit, but then I sort of got away from it. So now I'm starting to incorporate a little bit back into my diet. So I got some peaches, apricots this week, and apples, and then I baked some sweet potatoes and then roasted some mushrooms. Um,
Okay.
and then like I'll cook. I have kale. Kale is one of my favorite green vegetables. Because like
Yeah.
you can literally 100 grams of kale is really fills you up. So I'll cook that every night when I have dinner.
Nice.
That looks
And this what this looks. Yeah, this is what it looks like. You know. So yeah, so that's good to go. If I was smart, I'd move that pan. So let me just use wisdom. Move that pan versus trying to put it on top of the pan. Like what happened there? He's buying vegetables to eat. Oh,
mm,
cool. That's good. So yeah, I've never been able. The only way I like kale is as chips.
mm,
I've never really been a kale fan. Just Dana likes it,
mm-hmm.
but to me, it's just the taste is just it's just never been my thing.
I
But a lot
love
of people like it. You know, yeah, I like arugula, so I love putting arugula because I like that spicy bite.
it.
Um, but I know a lot of people love kale. It's like their go-to salad, choice in there.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of like raw kale as much as like I'll saute it with vegetables. Uh,
Nice.
when I was in high school, my mom always used to make me like she'd cook down this big bag of kale, and then I'd have it with sweet potatoes and chicken.
Okay.
I used to have that like almost every single day
Uh,
for food. I was just obsessed with it.
okay.
When you cook it down, like if you steam it, it gets a little bit softer,
Hmm.
and almost like a sweet note comes out to it
Yeah,
versus
I
like
haven't experienced
bitterness.
the sweet part of kale. I mean, that sounds great. I just haven't had that experience yet, to say the least. Mine has always been like, woo. I've done
Yeah,
everything. Well, not everything. I my thing is now I can eat like a pound of kale chips. I can go in on the kale chips.
have you ever tried making them in your air fryer?
No, but I
They're
have made
good.
them. I've baked them, but I've
Hmm.
never made them in the air fryer. I never even thought to make it in the air fryer.
Yeah, it's good. It takes a little bit less time.
I can
So I
imagine.
even got Leo to eat some kale when I made the crispy kale chips. So
Hmm.
it's a good opportunity to get some of your
Huh.
veggies.
That'll be worth the experiment. I'm all about trying new things, and I think that's the biggest thing. You want to be healthy long term. People always say, "Ah, I get tired of eating the same stuff all the time." I'm like, "What do you want to eat?" Oh, well, that's the reason why I eat the same stuff all the time. You got to just go to the grocery store, spend that $5, and look online and find a recipe and go, "I'll try it." Even
Hmm.
if it turns out bad, then okay, I won't do that one again.
Right.
But like one bad episode doesn't mean that you won't even like that food item. It just means you may not like it a certain way.
Hmm.
And so I'm always willing to, even though I say, oh, kale, I always, if I go to a restaurant and they have it, I'll try it because somebody may do it a little bit different.
Hmm.
And I like it. Like beets is a great example. I do not like boiled beets, but I do like roasted beets,
Hmm.
you know? So not that beets like is the food option. My mom used to tell me it was good for my blood because it looks like blood on my plate, but I'm not sure if that was good science,
Yeah. Yeah. Probably.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
things moms tell kids to get them to eat their food.
Legit. Legit.
Cool
Beets
deal.
are good.
Yeah, a lot of people like them, and I think once like the whole like salad movement happened, when people were just putting all kinds of things in their salad besides lettuce, that's
Mm-hmm.
when I was like, oh, okay, I'll try that with something else.
Mm-hmm.
But it's probably not going to last. I mean, it's probably going to last longer in my house or with me eating it than something else.
Mm-hmm.
That I would really really enjoy. So cool. So I'm almost done here. Pretty much done. I'm just chopping this last little bit to put in here, and I'm done. Now, if you wanted, you did not have to break this up into multiple cooking events like I just did. You could have took the time to chop up all of the butternut squash at one time,
Mm-hmm.
and maybe like one pan looks like it'll cook probably like almost a whole thing. That would have been a better experience than doing one at a time. I gotta talk to Elizabeth about it. Talk to you in a bit. Hopefully this helps a bunch, and if you got a new recipe and some options when it comes to your food, you guys see this not at all. So some options when it comes to your food, whether it's doing some more veggies in there and get those roasted, or getting some butternut squash in your diet. Talk to you in a bit. Bye bye.